In this lesson, we're going to look at some word problems, some application problems, where proportion would be the tool that would be best for finding a solution. So let's take a look at the first problem. It says an English instructor asserted that students' test grades are directly proportional to the amount of time spent studying. Lisa studied 3 hours for a particular test and gets a 71. At this rate, how many hours would she have to study to get a score of 96? By the way, I'm not sure that I agree with this English teacher's assertion. Nevertheless, you look for a comparison. 3 hours gets a score of 71. So 3 is to 71. Now the labels I'm going to put on here are helpful. This is hours, and this is score. When I set up the other side of the proportion, the other comparison, I'm only going to have one of the two numbers. It says at this rate, how many hours? So since hours is the question, X will be up here with hours. Would she have to study to get 96 as a score? When you're setting up a proportion, if you have hours over score, then on this side of the equal sign, you will have to have hours over score. So now you don't have to pay any attention to the labels. We have 3 is to 71 as X is to 96. How do I solve that proportion? Well, I use those same skills I did in the last lesson. I multiply, step 1, 3 times 96. Let's do that. 96 times 3, that's 18. Carry the 1, 27, 288. Step 2 is to take the 288 and divide it by the third number, which is 71. So 288 divided by 71. And I think it will go in there 8 times. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 7. Oh my goodness. What in the world was I thinking? It will not go in there that many times. As a matter of fact, if I go back up here, it says round to the nearest hundredth. So it's not going to go in there anywhere close to that many times. So how about just 4 times? 4 times 1 is 4, and 4 times 7 is 28. Now, obviously, there's more to it, so I'm going to have to add a decimal and a decimal. And it says round to the nearest hundredth if necessary. So I may have to do a little bit more work here. I bring down a 0. And 71 does not go into 40 at all, so I have to do a 0. And I bring down the next 0. 71 into that, I think about 5 times. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 7 is 35. I think I need a little more workspace. And that didn't help much. Okay. When I subtract here, I get a 5. Whoops, I didn't borrow. And I get 45. I add a third 0. Now, why am I going that far? The instruction said to round to the hundredths. In order to round to the hundredths, I have to know what will be in the thousandths place. All right, it will go in here, I believe, 6 times. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 7 is 42. Doesn't really matter what I get. It will keep going, but I'm going to stop now. What does 6 tell you to do? It tells you to round up. This is approximately 4.06, and that is the number of hours necessary. Whoops. Okay, so in here, round to the nearest hundredth, 4.06. It was 4.056, and I rounded to the hundredths. All right, let's look at the next one. It says, suppose 38 pounds of coffee beans just the beans, are required to produce 2 pounds of farmer's coffee. How many pounds of coffee beans are required to produce 375 pounds of farmer's coffee? So let's see, what's our first comparison? We have 38 pounds, they're all pounds. This is beans, gives us 2 pounds of coffee. All I have to have is a label that differentiates those. It was 38 pounds of coffee beans, gives me 2 pounds of coffee. On this ratio, how many pounds of coffee beans are required to produce 375 pounds of coffee? It's important that you get them, if you set it as beans over coffee, that this fraction is also beans over coffee. Now, how am I going to solve it? Step number 1, the cross product with the numbers. 375 times 38. 375 times 38. 8 times 5 is 40. Carry the 4. That's 56. And 4 is 60. Carry the 6. That's 24. And 6 is 30. Placeholder 0. I'm going to get rid of those carrying. 3 times 5 is 15. Carry the 1. 3 times 7 is 21, and 1 more makes 22. Carry the 2. 3 times 3 is 9, and 2 more is 11. Add for 0, 5, 2, 4, 1. Very large number. And that is the first cross product. It is 14,250. Step 2, divide by the other number. So I'm going to take 14,250 and divide it by 2. Okay, that's not as bad a division as I have sometimes. So I have 14250, and I divide it by 2. It doesn't go into 1, but it goes into 14. So my answer is going to be like this. I look back up there and it doesn't say anything about decimals or rounding, so I hope that it goes in evenly. 2 goes into 14 7 times. That gives me 14. And bring down the 2. It goes in there once. That's 2. Bring down the 5. Goes in there 2 times. That's 4. Subtract for 1. Bring down the 0. And it goes in there 5 times. So we need 7,125 pounds of beans to produce the coffee that they ask for. The process is not hard. Sometimes the arithmetic is tedious. All right, the next one has 2 parts. Let's work on A. Mary's car will go 343 miles on 15.5 gallons of gas in highway driving. That's a comparison. 434 miles, 15.5 gallons. Part A. How many gallons will it take to drive 2,719 miles from her house to a friend's house? Okay. How many gallons? That's on bottom. To drive 2,719 miles. Her friend lives a far way away. All right, how am I going to solve this proportion? Well, I do the cross product that has 2 numbers. So step 1, I have 15.5 times 2,719. All right, I can do it. 2719, 15.5. Let's see if I get, I'm going to rewrite that now that I put my lines there. I think the lines are useful when the arithmetic gets so big. 2719 and 15.5. 5 times 9 is 45. Carry the 4. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 4 is 9. 5 times 7 is 35. Carry the 3. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 3 is 13. Placeholder 0. Going to erase carrying. Another 5. It should be the same. 5, 9, 5, 3, 1. 2 placeholder zeros. Multiply by 1. That'll give me a 9, a 1, a 7, and a 2. That's 5. 9 and 5 is 14. Carry the 1. That's 6. And 9 is 15. And 9 is 24. Carry the 2. That's 6. That's 5, 10, 11. Carry the 1. That's 12. Carry the 1. And that's 4. And I sure hope I didn't make an arithmetic mistake on that. That's that product. Step number 2 is to take 421,445 and divide it by the number I haven't used yet, which is 434. Okay, this is not turning out to be a lot of fun, but we can do it. I have 434, and it's divided into 421,445. Okay. Well, 434 doesn't go into 4 or into 42 or even into 421. So the first place that I will have a digit will be above this 4. I think that 434 will go into 4,214 about 9 times. So let's see. 434 times 9. I think this will be a 9. That's 36. Carry the 3. 27. 3 is 30. Carry the 3. That's 36. That's 3906. 3906. Subtract. I have to borrow. That's 8. That's a 0. Borrow again. 9 from 12 is 3. And bring down a 4. All right, I think that will go in there about seven times. Let me look at something. I have to fix something that it just dawned on me. And I hope you caught it earlier. There was 1 decimal place. There should be 1 decimal place in the answer. Luckily, I haven't gotten to that yet. Okay, so I'm gonna, all of that affected that decimal point. So I hope you saw it before and you were wondering if I was going to catch it. Thank goodness I finally did. All right, let's keep going. So I have 434, and I'm going to multiply. I think it will go in 7 times. I'm not sure. 7 times 4 is 28. Carry the 2. It's 21, 23. Carry the 2. And that's 30. Yay, so it worked. That's 30, 38. Subtract, I have to borrow. 8 from 14 is 6, and 3 from 7 is 4. And I bring down the 5. I'm on a decimal. I'm on the decimal side now, on the right side. It's only going to go 1 time for 434. And I'm going to subtract. And it doesn't really matter what I get because, now this is going to keep going, I don't know, maybe forever. It says round to the nearest integer, which is positive whole value. So this 1 is going to say, just drop me off. This is approximately 97. So I did early in the problem forget to count my decimal place. I think I was so worn out by the time I multiplied that I forgot my decimal place. Don't do that. And then do your division. You've got your decimal place, and it said to round to the nearest whole value. So when I went to tenths, it was smaller than 5, so I just dropped it off. All right, let's get some more room because we've got some more problem. All right, I have to go back where I can read it. Once again, the start of the problem, Mary's car will go 434 miles on 15.5 gallons. Let's see what the situation is now. How far can she drive on 137 gallons? She gets 137 gallons. How far can she drive? All right, so the X is in a completely different place. This time, to solve the proportion, I'm going to multiply these two. I'm getting lots of practice at multiplying and dividing. I have 434 and I'm multiplying it by 137. 7 times 4 is 28, carry the 2. 7 times 3 is 21 and 2 more makes 23, carry the 2. That's 28 and 2 makes 30. Placeholder 0. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. Carry the 1. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13. Then multiply 2 placeholder zeros. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 4 is 4. That gives me 8, 5, 4, 9, 5. This time I'm double checking there's no decimal in the multiplication. So step number 1 was 434 times 137, which I got 59,458. Step number 2, take 59,458 and divide it by the number we haven't used yet, which is 15.5. So I need plenty of room to do that. 15.5 into 59,458. Move the decimal one place, pick up a decimal, move it 1, and put the 0. 151 does not go into 5, does not go into 59, but it does go into 594. So I will have, I believe, 4 digits in my answer. Let's see what those instructions said again. Way up here, round to the nearest integer. So I may need a decimal and 1 more 0. This is a long one. All right, 151 goes in here 3 times. 151 times 3. It's 3, 15, carry the 1, that's 4. So 453. Subtract for 1, 4, 1. Bring down a 5. Well, it's going to go in there quite a few times. I think I'm going to try, oh goodness, 8. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 5 is 40. Carry the 4. I think that's, I think that might be right. I think 9 would be too big. Let's see. 8 times, what do we have? When I subtract, I have to borrow. That's a 7, that's a 0, that's a 2. No, it would have gone in there more. I need to go back and check. I think that I may have an error in this. Y'all help me check. That's 28, carry the 2. Oh, yes. And this just happens. I would like to check my work with a calculator once in a while because something was amiss on that, and I am sorry, but here we go again. 4 34, 137. I'll show you where my mistake was. 7 times 4 is 28. Carry the 2. That's 21. And 2 is 23. Carry the 2. And that's 30. I don't know that that's what I had before. Placeholder 0. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. That's 10. Carry the 1. That's 12. That's 13. And then finally, 2 placeholder zeros. And 4, 3, 4. That's 8. That's 5. That's 4. That's 9. That's 5. My goodness, that's the same number I got before. Well, because I've been trying to check things and I was showing a mistake. One decimal. All right, let's see. It went in there 3 times. And 155 times 3, that's 15. Carry the 1, that's 16. Carry the 1, that's 465. Subtract. I got 129. Bring down the 5. Maybe that's where I had my mistake last time. But I think that, let's try 8. 155 times 8. That's 40. Carry the 4. That's 44. Carry the 4. Okay, yes, that is, I redid all of that, but I think my mistake was here. 1240. 5, bring down the 8. It's going to go in there 3 times again. I already have it here. All right, so that was my 8. Another 3. 3 times 155, I already did it, is 465. Subtract, that's a 3. That's a 9. Bring down the 0. It's going to go in there about 6 times. 155 times 6. 30. Carry the 3. Carry the 3. 9. Oh, evenly. Something positive happened. So that's 930. And my goodness, I'm exhausted. It turns out that if she buys 137 gallons of gas, that she can travel 3,836 miles. Maybe I can make it so your problems aren't quite so bad, quite so challenging. And I tell you what, I think you have had enough practice, and I'm going to take the rest of these off of here. You're going to have 3 problems, but the last one will have 2 parts, and that's plenty to practice.